If the media covered stories on elevators like they cover the stock market, they'd rename the up and down buttons as soar and plunge. When I first got into the investment industry about 20 years ago, someone shared this quote with me, and I have no idea who originally said it, but once you hear it, you can't really unhear it. And it might change the way you look at headlines about the markets.
Michael Burry is betting on a stock market crash.
Michael Burry appears to have recently placed a big bet against the US stock market.
It's worth around $1.6 billion. It makes up around 93% of his entire portfolio.
First of all, my last video explains why these reports were factually wrong. Burry did not put 93% of his fund into put options. It was probably closer to 10% or even much less. And I'll link to that video if you haven't seen it. Nonetheless, a lot of people probably took notice of the news and wondered if they should also do something. Some would have sold, some may have bought some copycat put options, while others probably just got more anxious about the markets. But there are bear calls all the time. Why is this one different? Why did the media jump on this one so aggressively? Because it's Michael Burry. He brings more emotional weight to the table than other people. He's also known to people outside of the hobbyist investment community because his story was immortalized in The Big Short. To his credit, his hedge fund returned a massive 489% shorting subprime mortgages as the great financial crisis ground the financial system to a halt. It was an unbelievable call. And he showed complete conviction even in the face of the investors in his fund wanting his head on a pike.
I want my money back. Give me my money back. You
This was a real David versus Goliath story that had such emotional weight for so many people who were directly impacted by Wall Street's bad actions. We rooted for him in the movie and felt vindicated when his play turned out. He's one of the heroes. But Burry has had numerous bear calls either made by him or attributed to him since the great financial crisis, and if you had blindly followed those calls, your portfolio would have suffered. The Wall Street Journal's Spencer Jakab wrote about this a few days ago, and he compared the performance of the S&P 500 index for the 6 months after each of Burry's previous 5 bearish calls became publicly known and reported. And it's not pretty. August 2019, Burry said that there was a bubble in passive investing. The index was up over the next 6 months by an annualized 6.39%. March 2020, Burry tells Bloomberg that he has a significant bearish market bet, and the index was up at an annualized rate of 96.05% over the next 6 months. June 2021, Burry tweets that the markets are in the greatest speculative bubble of all time in all things. Annualized rate plus 22.18%. September 2022, Burry tweets that he wonders if this could be worse than 2008. Annualized rate 17.6%. And January 2023, Burry simply tweets, sell. The market increased at an annualized 26.71% over the next 6 months. In fact, the average annualized return for the U.S. market for each of the 6 months following Burry's 5 previous bear signals was 34%. So, does this mean that this Burry signal is wrong this time? The truth is, you can't draw any meaningful conclusions. Some might say that, you know what, he's just early.
Being early is the same as being wrong.
Regardless, eventually his bear signals will be right because markets are unpredictable, but we do know that they go up and down, and big drops are actually not that uncommon. But unless you're able to put money into Burry's fund, which realistically you probably can't, he only has 4 institutional clients according to the filings, you probably won't get to realize the performance that Burry has been able to achieve in the fund, whatever that is, because I haven't seen an audited report of performance, because we only see a fraction of what's going on. And based on how things were portrayed in The Big Short, and that there could be long periods of underperformance before any big payoffs, I have to imagine you need equally high conviction to even invest alongside Michael Burry.
Will you give yourself to this program?
And all of that is still no guarantee that he'll be able to outperform going forward, which is a conversation for another video. But Burry aside, There is a lesson here that applies for all investors and students of the market, and to which Spencer Jakab highlighted in his article. Every market crash has someone who can dine out forever by nailing it. You can be wrong a lot about predicting the market, but all will be forgiven if you can get on the record for predicting a bear market right before a big one happens. It's a low-risk, high-return strategy for fame in the world of investing punditry. For the bears. Not so much for everyday investors like you and me. I just learned last week how important hitting the like button is for YouTube's algorithm. And I've always been loath to ask people to smash that like button. But given how much influence it has on a channel, if you made it this far, I hope you'll, can't even say it. I just hope you'll hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next video.